Hey everybody, we are here. I hope everything is set up right. I think so. Had a crazy month, crazy week. Just want to make sure you guys know I am working on more money, less traffic. That will be coming. I've got part 6 written. I've got part 7 written. I've got a bonus video written. Lots of great stuff coming up pretty soon here. So I'm hoping everybody will find it. I would love if you could give some likes to me right now. We're changing up to a new day, and I don't know whether the algorithm is going to be really nice to me about getting people to watch. I'd love to be able to see that, so if you guys could shoot a few likes my way, I'd sure appreciate it. So I changed up my mods a little bit, not a whole lot. This is the first person, some kind of first person mod. I forget the name of it now. Of course I would blank out on it now. So we're going to get a little bit of a view. We're going to see the nice octagonal wheels spinning in the game. But we're on our way into Transcentral Station right now. I did a few things with the city. I'm going to show you in a bit. We'll wait till we get into the station and you guys can see it. Right now I'm just going to say hello to Conscript and Usuario and Riley and Expletive, Elric, Tomas, and Tank Basal. So hey, we're on the road. We are on the air. So what are we going to do today? Well, I've been trying to get that railroad put in because we need to be able to expand to the west. And if I expand to the west, I'm afraid I'm going to end up needing to shoehorn the railroad in there later. It's just a real huge pain in the bottom to do that. So here's Transcentral Station, and we're just about ready to get started here. I'll show you what we're going to do, and I'll show you what I accomplished. So I want to make sure the railroad was in, because if we don't have the railroad in, then it's going to just make it really super complicated to put in later. This is a new trackage that we built in the last episode. I've rearranged things just a tad, not a whole lot. Here's our new station. Oh, that's not good. I did not realize how uneven that was. So I have to work on a few things here. Now if I can get out of this mod, here we go. All right, so I obviously have to rework a little bit of this because that is not right. That just isn't right. Maybe I could fix it just a little bit right now and we'll be good to go. Oh no, this is bad. I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I'll have to fix it later. Right now it seems like the train's running, and that's what matters most to me. So I extended the grid out a little bit. There's a little bit of an inset if we go to traffic view. This station is not too bad of a level, except for that that happened. I don't quite know what I did to do that, but we're going to figure it out. Just some kind of a glitch. Some of these stations are exactly where you expect them to be, and some of them aren't. Looks like I've got a little wavy spot here in that line too. Oh well, I kind of rushed this to put it all together for you guys. But I built a freight terminal here because that's going to be important as we bring in that station from the north. I quadruple tracked this section through here. Right now it's just going to end right there on that curve. And I just before the live stream started, was able to get these 2 bridges built. So now all I have to do is connect this in over to the to the edge of the map over here to the north. Now the other direction, I did some fun things too. I have 2 tunnels, and they terminate right over here on the other side of the mountain. So we're able to go under the mountain. We went through the mountain over to the other side, so we'll be able to access this. So who knows, maybe we'll have some time, be able to get a port somewhere over through here. Might have to rearrange some of this. And I got to do some grade separation work and everything. So I'm not worried about that as much here. I want to get to that. We might have to wait till next week to get to that. But what I do want to do is build out to the west and probably build over here as well. I didn't put in any stations here. I'm probably going to end up, as much as I hate to do it, shoehorning them in later. Now, one of the things I want to show you that I've done here so far with the way this is built is Just going to give you a quick little idea of how far I'm spacing the stations. So I've got a station right here, and then this is Transcentral Station, which is the main one. So that is about 185 units, and if I can find me a calculator here, let's see here. So 182 units, and we're looking at 8 meters per unit. That's 1,456 units between these two stations as the crow flies. In miles, that works out to being that's a little about a kilometer and a half. That works out to being about a mile. And then over here, I've got a much further distance between Transcentral and Laguna. Now I'm only doing this as the crow flies because I want to know how far my stations are apart. And just doing it as the crow flies seems to work pretty well. So now let's see how many units we've got over here. 480, 490. Let's do 483. So 483 units times 8. That's 38. That's 3.864 kilometers. And let's see here, divided by 1607. That's a little over 2.5. That's a little under 2.5 miles for all of my metric impaired friends who are like me, otherwise known as Americans. All right, so 570 units between Laguna and Paso Laguna and Escondido. That's 4560. That's about a little over 4.5 kilometers. Divide that by, whoops. Well, let's just do 4.5. Oh man, I have fat fingers today. It's a little, almost 3 miles, a little under 3 miles between Escondido and Paso Laguna. So that's a reasonable station spacing for my rail system. Now, I'm not trying to make this rail system be a rapid transit system. It's more like a commuter rail system. And for that, I'm trying to get to be about, I want to have about 2 miles in between each station, and except for in here in the core, where I'm shooting for something closer to a mile. So I'm going to have probably a third station over here on the other side of Pescado Harbor that will allow, or maybe I should call it Harbor Pescado, which will allow me to have my core, this is not exactly the core, but it will be the core over here in this peninsula. This is going to get all built up and probably going to end up building on the mountain and stuff too. So the bottom line is there's going to be about a mile between the stations in the near the core, and that's going to service, allow traffic to get in and out of the core and anything nearby very easily. And then it's about 2 miles is what I'm shooting for outside the core. So to Paso Laguna, it's a possibility we could put another station in between here. I'm not really sure I'm going to do that, and I'm probably not going to put another one for sure in between Paso Laguna and Escondido because there's really nothing much going on in between, although I could develop this area since I do have a road that runs through it. So that's useful. So then the question is, how am I going to develop this? Well, from Transcentral, this is probably going to be rather dense. So I'm trying to remember if, let's work backwards here. So if we have 1,600 meters is roughly a mile. Divide that by 8. About 200 units is a mile. So I could probably build a station over here. That would be useful for getting passengers in here. I don't know how much it's going to matter for getting them into Transcentral Station. But either way, we'll probably have a station. I think I left a spot right here with a straightaway right there. And that might be the only other station that we put in over here. Probably another freight terminal too, which is going to make life interesting. Well, I'm actually very interested in seeing what happens once I complete that rail line to the north, whether I'm going to end up with any cross traffic, people wanting to go to this industrial area from this rail line over here, because I'm not running anything but passengers to connect to the rest of the system. So we're going to see how that works. Anyway, if you have any questions as I work through this, please give me a shout out in the comment. Well, not the comments, the live chat. I have super chats turned on, so if you feel like making any contributions, that's totally cool. If not, I am happy to have you watching here. I certainly do not think this is a pay-to-play thing. If you have any questions here you'd like to ask me, feel free to at me like Conscript did here. Will you do something with the empty space in Aristotle Park? Is it being reserved for something? Yeah, it's being reserved for a park. I just haven't decided what kind of park I want to put in there yet. Might just be a regular city park. I might, I don't know. I haven't really decided. It looks like I've got room for the zoo over here. I think it would be kind of a weird spot for an amusement park. Also, I don't know if it's big enough. So it's going to be a park at some point. I just haven't bothered to build it. So maybe we'll work on some parks and stuff through here too. Remind me, we do not have realistic population on. Let's look at the unemployment level. We've got 7% unemployment, which is in a reasonable range. It's where I'm a little more comfortable. So we will probably amp up our... I do want to go over to the realistic population and realistic population revisited mod. It used to be realistic population and consumption because the buildings sort of consume a lot of water and electricity more than it seems like they should. So I'm probably going to convert over to that. Before I do, I'm going to pump up this unemployment number quite a bit because realistic population does not need as many jobs. And we're going to have way too many jobs, probably too much industry. I don't know. But I want to do that before we start detailing. And the detailing is important because I'm not really in love with the vanilla buildings here. They aren't my favorite. Actually, let's make it a little brighter here. The vanilla buildings aren't really my favorite. I really like it better when we have more control over it. And I think it'll look more like an American city instead of looking like Vancouver buildings took over Los Angeles or something like that, or San Diego. So anyway, that's what we're going to do. All right, so let's get to building over here to the west. I want to extend the grid. Now, the other thing I want to do too, first off, let's see. I can't remember if I spaced this out the way I wanted it to or not. But we're going to just take this grid all the way out here. Or at least that's the plan. Bring it out 72. And I think 60 would work here. All right, so it looks like this is, it might not be quite where I want it. That might not be too bad. I think I do actually want to move that road a little bit, but I do want a road that goes up through that valley, and I'm going to have a town over here, another commercial area through there. And I'll probably have one over here too, although not that big because I don't want it to really upstage downtown. The other thing I want to do is extend Market Avenue up into this valley up here somewhere. Not really sure till we start running the road here. So let me see here. So yeah, that's not quite exactly where I want it. So let's fill in this grid and we'll get some people, Sims moving in here. $12 by 20 grid size here. So these are already spaced 12 units apart. I just need to fill these in and upgrade market and extend the tram line. I definitely want the tram line coming out here. Extend Olive right there, and then... Alright, so now we're starting to get up the hill a little bit, which should make things a little more interesting. The other thing I want to do is I want to extend this street and bring it over the rail line and start working it up the mountain, because I do want to develop up the mountain. Alright, so let's get that tram line fit in here. I've got a turnaround built near the station. All right, so now let's work this up a little bit differently. All right, so if we bring that... And I'm going to switch over to a dirt road here, just to get an idea. Now, I think I want to have... Let's see, so we've got, that's 41, it's 40 units. Okay, so 40 units. I'm trying to think here. So my Pythagorean triples might be kind of nice to use here. I'm just blanking out here a little bit. I think what we'll do is I can do 34. It's 5, 12, 13. It's probably, boy, my brain does not work today. So let's see here. So if I go 20 there, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to eyeball it. Forget it. Don't want that interfering with what I'm trying to do here. All right, so I got 6 units there. Let's go 8. Maybe we'll go a little further than that. Trying to get it closer to 75 degrees. I don't think it's going to happen. All right, so we'll go 8 units here. And we'll try to get 75 degrees roughly. Now the reason why I like 75 degrees is because there's a lot of workshop assets that actually fit at 70. Well, there's a couple anyway that fit at the a 75 degree angle or a 105 degree angle. That's close enough right there. And I think that's what we'll do right there is let's see. How long is that? Oh, that's not right. All right, so I want to get this to align nicely. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get what I want out of that. I don't think it's going to matter that much. So we're probably just going to continue that street anyway. All right, so there is our road there. Make that a boulevard to start off with. And actually, I probably should put a tram on that, now that I think about it. Now we'll extend that road in a bit here. Let's see. Let's have... Yeah, let's have that be a park. I just got another idea. That actually might be a kind of a cool little way to cut down on traffic at this intersection. All right, so just got an idea here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to curve. This is actually Howard Avenue. And I'm going to make this little area here I make it so that Howard Avenue, I want it to be a little bit longer than that. Let me extend that boulevard just a little bit more. Okay, so I'm gonna get Howard Avenue to come in at an angle on this street. Just go a little bit further. Oh, you know what? Why don't I do that? That'd be even better. All right, so I'm going to pull that out 6 units right there. Yeah, let's do it right here. 6 units here. Then I can have a 4x4 building right there if I want to. And actually, I am going to go out one more. Four units there. And 5 units there. 6 units there, 5 units there. And then we'll connect them up. And that gives me a nice subtle curve, but at a nice angle here. So I'm going to continue this on up. Market will probably come on up over here. That will allow me to have alternate routes forming into, you know, one major street that runs up into that valley. So that's what I'm aiming for right here. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how this turns out. Now this street here, I'm tempted to run up the hill. But for right here, we're just going to... Yeah, we're going to leave that like that. Okay, so now let's get some water pipes in here. I see that there's been some talk about straight water pipes into the street on the interwebs lately. I don't know if you guys have seen any of that. I am still not exactly sure what people are trying to say, but I get the impression that people who are perfectionists like me are getting made fun of. Maybe we deserve it. All right, I think that... that'll do. All right, so now down market, and we should be good to go. And then I have to figure out how to terminate this tram line, streetcar line here. So what I'm going to do for that is run it around the park. Oh, that's not what I want. I want that to be two-way. There we go. I want that to be a street. Yeah, we'll do that. So we're going to have this park over here. It's going to run around, and that will take care of that. So let me extend that real quick. Like, let's see. So I want to have a something at the corner here. I'm going to actually split this up. And let's see, how many, oops, how many blocks am I spacing these here? So I've got one there, I've got one there, that's kind of close. So I've got about 2, 3 blocks there, 1, 2, 3 there. How many blocks do I have between? I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, well, this won't be as rapid of a route as I normally like to build. But we'll put another station, another stop right there. Set of stops, I should say. Oops, I don't need this. All right, so all they did there was break that up, so we'll have stops staggered like you see right there. Since these are 12 units, yeah, that's the spot right there. And then I need one right here. And I probably don't really want, yeah, we'll just put it there for now. And then I want one over here at the end of the park. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. All right, so our zoning pattern. And I've actually got a new More Money, Less Traffic video that's going to come out and explain some of this zoning pattern stuff that I talk about a lot. I want to keep commercial along my main corridor right here. And yeah, we'll be okay with this here. I'm going to zone commercial along this boulevard here. So that should take care of that issue. So now let's fill in some residential. Oh, thanks so much, Elric. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Lee, for the stream. As always, really enjoy your content. Keep it up. Thanks so much, Elric. 5 pounds. Great. Thank you. Reminder didn't remind me. Oh, no. We have to have the reminder remind people to go to the stream. If I don't recognize anyone from the Discord, sorry. Yeah, I think that's Nathan. Allo Dictator. I don't know how you say that. I'm not good at Spanish. I try. Allo Dictador. I don't think it sounds as smooth coming out of my American accent. Okay, so this is good what we have right now. Now, another thing I want to do is I want to connect. One of the reasons, the main reason really why I built this cargo terminal is because I want to be able to serve freight traffic into, well, this part of downtown, as well as, you know, the central part around Campos del Mar. So then I'll have, oh, hey, we won the basketball game, so that's good. So I want to make sure that, you know, we've got freight that can come in over here from the line that goes to the east, and then this will be freight that comes in from the line to the west. It'll also help bring in some freight out here. I was thinking about building some agricultural stuff out there. I don't know. I haven't made up my mind on all of that yet. So I need to integrate this into the grid somehow, which is a little tricky because I've got a little bit of elevation here. This is probably like 7 meters, 8 meters high. Higher than Figueroa Avenue right here. And then the other thing I need to do is get this street worked up so that it can cross over the tracks at a reasonable height and go up along the mountainside. So why don't we work on that at the moment? This is going to be a little tricky. But it will look really cool when it's done. All right, so I really think I'm going to want to... All right, so why don't we start with a bridge right here? I think that would be a good idea. Good place to start. All right, so I'd like to have roughly about 10 or 12 meters here. It looks like right here is about where I'd get that. Oh, I'm going to be really high on the other side. So I probably can actually go a little further down here. All right, so that's 11, 12. Why don't we... yeah. That looks like a decent spot. Let me make sure I'm... okay. That's even better. All right, so that is our target, this node right here. And I'm going to build... turn on anarchy here and build straight across. 12 units. Hey, perfect. All right, so that'll be a nice place to put my bridge. I should be able to tie in... it's going to be a steep hill, but it should be a good place to tie in my freight terminal right here. Now, that's a little tricky too. I want to sort of... I think I want to try to lower the, even out the grade a little bit more here. Now, how do I want this to go? It looks like, you know what, why don't we take care of that later? I'll come back to that once we get more of the rails put in here. I don't want to spend too much time on that. All right, so now let's get this built down the hill here. That looks like a pretty good spot to go down. We got 10 units out there. Okay, so let's use our, since this will actually calculate it a lot faster than I can. What is it? I hit Control to select all the nodes. There we go. And that's not selecting, it's not giving me. How would I clear that? That's Shift C clears the selection. I think I need to go in this direction. Okay, so 6.12 to 7. That's not too bad. That's a pretty reasonable grade, I would say, even for a road, even for a main road. We'll have a good view of the downtown as we come in there. All right, so now let's see if we can make this. Find 12 units up here. I'll have a nice even curve. 10 units there. So we want to hit right in that spot. So we'll have a straight section right here. Well, I might as well go with the boulevard. And now I can just put in curves. Like so. There we go. All right, so now let's bring our grid up here. Actually, what I want to do first is clear that out. All right, so I want to, I might have to change direction here. Let me use move it to drop that node a little bit here. Even that out just a little bit. That looks pretty good. And you know, the other thing I think I want to do too is bring that into the node. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Okay, now let's level that out. Enter to smooth the slope. And that gets us about 6.3% grade. That's a real nice grade. Okay, so that is accomplished. Now, it's nice to have, I'm pretty sure in real life that a lot of times engineers will actually build, oh, I need that to be elevated. They'll actually build roads to make sure that on hills, especially with the main roads, maybe not so much on the smaller roads, they will make it sure that the grade is pretty much consistent, and they build with transition grades in between so that it's not like you're all of a sudden, bam, going up a hill, bam, now you're going down, bam, now you're flat, you know, that kind of thing. So you can get an idea of what's going on there. Okay, so let's see. Now what's fun is, and I actually really like doing this, so this is one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about street layout with this, is that we've got this road here and we've got all this real estate and we'd love to develop it. I mean, this is prime. I mean, look how close to downtown you are, right in the center. So I want to make sure that I take advantage of all of this. So how I'm going to do that is going to be an open little thing here. So because there's so many ways I can do it. I could just bring the grid straight up. I mean, it would look interesting and everything, but I might get some funny grades that I might not want. I might get some intersections like this right here. Would be a good place if I'm coming off and coming in, but it's going to be a sharp turn to the right if I'm coming from the waterfront. So that's a possibility. The other possibility is that I can follow the terrain lines and maybe angle these out, which I was sort of leaning towards. And I'm just going to connect to these nodes. I feel like that might be more interesting. And then the other thing I can do is maybe build a parallel road that runs up here. There's so many possibilities. Why don't we start by kind of bringing that area in together here. So I feel like I'm going to need a street. I have 20 units here, so I could actually just carry that grid just a little bit further. And let's see here. So we're 22 units there. Why don't I go 18 right here? Yep, it doesn't want to play well with my angle. I feel like I should probably make that a little bit wider. So why don't we... Let's go with something more like... I got 22. So let's do 14. And that'll give me a little bit more gentle curve right here. 8 units there. Then I can head straight into the boulevard. I still have good grades. Check that out. That's a really gentle grade. Follows the terrain really nicely. It'd be easy to walk that street. And then over here, I could run right in there. And at this point, maybe I could just... Yeah, why don't I do that? We will run a road. Oh, hey, that actually might be a good idea right there. That looks like a pretty good angle. All right, so we'll run this here. Connect there. And we get a curve running right in there. So that looks good. So far, so good. Now I have to figure out what to do with all of this. So why don't we check that out. All right, so I think what we'll do here is... How far is that? 10 units. Okay, that looks good. All right, so what I'm going to do here is a little trick that I use. All right, so I've basically taken 10 units away here and 10 units away from the end of this street. And then I want to find the center. And that's going to be a little tricky. So what I'll do is switch over to my one-way tram tracks. You can use the narrow two-lane roads on network extensions too, if you'd like. It's another way to do this. And then what we'll do is find a reasonable angle to... That actually looks really good right there. All right, so 3 units right there. I can get rid of this and this. Not quite far enough. There we go, 3. Yeah, it's close enough. And so now I have another road that sort of snakes away over there. And it's not too close to the rails. Whoops. Let me get the terrain. All right, so that's a little steep, but it's not too bad. It's a pretty reasonable grade, especially for a side street. I could smooth this out just a little bit. If I can get my keys to work. There we go. All right, that looks pretty good. I just eyeballed that one. Not too worried about it being perfect in that area. So now I've got a nice boulevard that runs right through there. I can actually zone this too. And the other thing I will do is zone some commercial along this road, since it's really good to have a corner store. Oops, that's not commercial. There we go. So hopefully this gives you an idea of some ways you can zone. We're going to do this in a few other spots too. Not zone, but lay out a grid, you know, especially when you need to transition into other pieces here. Just give you some ideas of blending this in with a mountainside. Oh, you know what? I just realized I have not checked on education in a while. Let's speed this clock up. Get people to move in here a little faster. How am I doing on my city services? Education, okay, we're decent on elementary schools. I probably should build another one out here, though. Oh, we still got room right there. I'm going to build another one right here. It'll be noisy with the train next door, but not right away. All right, and I probably could use another high school. Schools are important. If you've seen More Money, Less Traffic, last episode that we put out, it actually explains a lot of how parks and education both work together to give us a lot of land value. That is actually going to be a really cool drive-in. Really cool view of downtown. That was what I was hoping for. Just a really cool way to come into the city. All right, so now let's fill in this residential. Always nifty to have a few little mountainside neighborhoods. Some of these residents are probably going to be super annoyed by the noise over here. I am honestly not going to be too concerned about that. That's just something that comes with the territory. Conscript asks, I still can't get over how realistic your rail looks. Mine always end up looking like conveyor belts. Well, thanks. Not exactly sure how you mean by conveyor belts, but I can't even exactly envision that, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I guess if the conveyors are going at weird angles, then I could see how you would get that idea. All right, so that should be enough right there to get most of that watered. I think you guys saw last week how long it takes me to get these rails to look like this. This is not something that you're going to learn how to do overnight. And it's not something that you're just going to put a little effort forth in and you're going to get it. Let me fix these. Oh, I don't want that. I want to use TMPE. All right, so that boulevard. I want stop signs. Let's get the overlay here. All right, so there we go. Stop signs along the boulevard. Running on up over here. All right, so that looks good. Oh, and I didn't do that on Market Avenue now, did I? Or any of these other side streets. So let's set up our traffic controls. My next video, More Money, Less Traffic, is actually going to cover this in some good detail here. What I need to do is, yeah. There we go. Oh, I guess that is not all. All right. Now I need to fix this up. We're not going to use, we're going to be using vanilla stop signs in More Money, Less Traffic, but it is still going to be instructive because the same principles apply with TMPE. There's a few things we really need to do a little different with TMPE. I'm going to put a stop sign right there on Market. And I that to be a stop sign, and I'm just going to put one there. All right, so I'm not going to sweat the rest of these too much. Traffic flow wise, we should be doing really well. Let's see the traffic flow. We're doing great on this side of town. There's hardly anything there. We're getting a little busier here, but it looks like some of that might be the buses. Something we could do eventually is run another line down through here that will parallel market. We could use a tram. And then we would have to figure out a way to get through this Mission District area. Whether we'd want to have a tram line run down here is somewhat debatable because, yeah, I don't know. You know, that actually might be a good idea down the line. It's just going to maybe jam up some of this intersection through here, but there are some assets on the workshop that we could use to make that work a little better. And then I could, you know, the other thing I could do too is if I did run a tram, I could actually just split it off from here, have it go up through the neighborhood. That actually might be a cool way to do it. Run the tram down. Yeah. I could run it through here, or even run it through here. Probably here. And then have it branch off, perhaps at this intersection. It could go along here, have a stop or two in there, and then instead of going east, although I could add a branch at some point, I could run it up here to my zoo. That would be a cool idea. How are we doing on the zoo? Okay, so I could actually bring that to the next level if I build on that. So maybe we'll work on that too today. We could probably dress up Compost Del Mar a little bit more. It looks like some of that's starting to fill in. I don't know how I'm doing. Okay, unemployment-wise, I'm actually getting kind of high. So let's see what else we can do to build up on this hill here. I really dig how that's going to fan out. You know, we'll have... This will be a road right over here. We could widen that if we needed to. It doesn't look like I'm going to. But this would actually be almost a continuous boulevard. And it all interconnects with Broadway and it bypasses Market. It's going to be pretty cool. All right, so how about if we work on maybe filling in some of this hillside? Let's do it over here. This is going to be the hotter property because it is real close to Compost Del Mar, where all of our big buildings are. Let's see if I've got any other questions. It looks like I've got another one from Where Loga. Market Avenue is called Cooper Street under the station. Yes, yeah, I noticed that. That's going to get changed. I'm not going to get into that. How are my vistas consistently good? I don't know. I just think about these things, and you can do them. You can get them that good. It's pretty cool. I gotta get some traffic going on up here. You know, I want to do that. I want to get some traffic going on up here. I'm going to develop on this because I want to run first person over that vista. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? All right, so let's get... I sort of think that it might be fun to just maintain the grid right here. How far is that? Okay, that's not exactly square, is it? It sure isn't. All right, so we want to run this road up. I feel like, yeah. How high is that going to get? Looks like I could almost get all the way to the top if I do that. All right, so I need to do something a little different right there. I can't quite just run that straight up the hill, not a main road. So I'll have to snake that through. What I can do is I can build 40 units up the hill right there. Oh, I don't want a straight slope on. We're not going to grade these as perfectly because these are not main streets. All right, so 40 units up the hill. That'll allow me to kind of extend the grid a little bit here. And then I'm going to snake that up the hill a little bit more. You know, I think I should probably... Should I go up to 20? Let's just do 12. No, we'll go another 20. I think that's going to work out better. All right, so that's going to be a little steep. Ooh, that's really steep. Well, we might change that up a little bit later on. All right, so now I have this area. And I think I'm going to... Let's go 8 units out from there on each end. How's that grade-wise? It might be steeper than I want it to be for a main road. Let's see what my toolkit here says. Now, for whatever reason, you have to go in the direction that you laid the road usually. It doesn't look like it wants to do it that way, though. Oh, I probably have. Nope. Maybe I have to go opposite. There we go. Okay, all right. That's not as bad as I thought, I guess. Haha. Yeah, so if you start at the end, at one end, and you work your way out, then it will give you a nice reading. Otherwise, it is a little weird. All right, so that's actually not too bad of a grade. That's actually a really gentle grade. So I'm going to hit enter and smooth that out. And then I will build this in to connect. Now, one of the things that... Yeah, that should run right straight into the waterfront. So that'll look kind of cool. I don't know why I'm not getting my guides. Okay, that is 8. All right, so I got 8 units right here. I also would really like... There we go. Okay. Actually... Yeah, I do want to run kind of straight right there. Okay, so let me fix this one, this end over here. Okay, now that one wants to cooperate with me. Turn my angling off so that it'll connect there. All right, so now I can't remember which direction I set that other one in. Oh, I'm running trams. I don't want that right now. I want trees. All right, so now I can get a nice straight stretch right there. I'm going to need to fix those nodes. All right, so first off, yeah, you know, I don't think I really care about that one right there. So I want this to be a nice smooth grade all the way down. To the railroad bridge. Yeah, wow, that's it's really gentle. Maybe almost too gentle. Yeah, it'll be all right. Okay, so now I need to get that other street up here. And that's going to be 12 more units over here. or something like that. Now if I just go straight down, that's going to be really steep, I think. Let's see how steep. I forget if I measured this one yet or not. Oh, let me just do... There we go. Okay. So that's a little steeper than I'd probably like it to be. It doesn't look like it lets me deselect these. Alright, so let's... This mod obviously needs a little bit more work. Shift C to clear it. And then I want to hit Control, and then it'll select all that in between. And then if I hit Enter... That's not terrible, but it's not as good as I'd like it to be. So what we'll do is... Yeah. We're going to run a little bit of a switchback up here. So in order to get the grade lowered on that stretch of street, since this is a main road, I think I want to run this at, at a little bit of an angle here. Turn on anarchy. And I'd say 20 degrees. Yeah. Yeah, we can do that. So the idea here is that you want to sort of snake the road around just enough so that it ends up not having this really steep grade. That actually might do the trick right there. Let's try that. Let's see what we get. Shift C to clear, Control, click, and let's try hitting Enter. Okay, that dropped it a little bit. Not quite as much as I'd like. I'd like to get it under 7% if I could. So I'm probably going to have to snake it back in the other direction a little bit here. Go there, and then here. Now let's see what we get. Shift C, Control, click, and then Enter, and then now we're about 7. I'm going to be happy with that. That's close enough. All right, so now we need to go and move, connect all these segments so that they're smooth. I'm not going to worry about that one too much. All right, so I need to sort of split these up in the middle. Oops. I want that to be more square. Now, the other problem I have, need to rearrange this a little bit here. It's going to change my calculus a little bit here. All right, so that should probably do it. Okay, so if I these along. I should get some decent curves. Maybe not quite what I was hoping for, but decent curves nonetheless. Okay. Get rid of these little spurs. This is really sort of just cowboyed. I'd probably spend more time really analyzing this. All right, now if I hit enter. Oh, wow, that's perfect. That looks really good. Yeah, I think that's going to work. Just under 7%. All right, so now I can upgrade this and make that a main road. And I'm going to expand that. Sorry, guys, you're going to have to move. Okay, good deal. Now that's going to be a shorter route, which is a little bit of a problem, but there is a way that we can solve that. That right there is just way too steep, so we're not going to have that connect. What we're going to do instead is, let's see, go to our normal streets so I don't have to upgrade them later. Oh, up 20 units here. Some of these are going to be a little steep. I'm not going to sweat that too much, though, because these are side streets. All right, that looks pretty good. Now let's 20 there. All right, so we should be able to get away with going straight across to at least here. Yeah, I think we'll do that. And then the other thing we'll do right here, go across 6 units and come in at an angle right there. I can go to this next block. Now here's the thing. I want to make sure that I can get into this terminal. I'd like to have, I would really like to have that curve around through there. Let me go to my gravel road. I want to have there be an entrance and an exit. I really want to eliminate as many turns as I can, because that's going to create a lot of problems if I have too many turns. So I need this street to be able to come up here, but I don't want it to be too steep. So I'm going to bring that down off of this. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Okay, so first let's make sure we've got a corner there, and then I'm going to bring that up 3 units, let's say. I need to move this a little bit in. Okay. All right, so I've got my 4 units there. And I want that to come in about, yeah. Let's do that. All right, so that gives me right here in the middle. Delete these 2 segments here. Go to a normal size street. This will actually make this approach to the terminal a little longer too, which has an advantage of being able to queue a little more traffic going in here. This isn't open yet, but it will be eventually, and I want to make sure I'm prepared. Alright, so now the last thing I want to do is get this street to connect in with the rest of the grid. What is the best way to do that? I really don't want to have an intersection right there. I'd probably be okay with one right here. This is just a bit of an access road for residents. All right, so how about we run it right there? Gives me a 90 right there. Actually, I'm going to run it right there, and I think when I'm... No, that's not how I want to do it. I think that'll do. It's not ideal. It's not perfect. But it'll work. I might not even need that. I might decide to get rid of it later. Now, one of the other things I want to do is connect these streets to my main road right here. Get rid of that angle. I'm not going to put that in on every one of these. And actually, yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do here is I'm going to isolate this neighborhood a little bit more than I typically would, just because of the terrain and because this is a main road. And I don't want this to be used too much as a shortcut. But it is probably going to end up being a little bit of a shortcut, so yeah, I think I'm just going to leave that isolated there. After all. And I'll probably have another park up through here. It's not exactly what I had initially intended. You know what I think I'll do? Yeah. I am going to give some access in here. It's going to be a little bit circuitous, but it's going to make it so that there won't be any shortcutting going on. Normally I don't worry about shortcutting, but I am this time because I feel like it's going to be a problem with the way the roads are going to be configured through here. Alright, so then I can, yeah, that should give me a good set of grades right here, as well as access to some of this land in between. Alright, so now I'll just adjust this. Oops, too much. That looks good enough. Alright, so now when I have this road coming down through here, this is not going to be a shortcut. This will be a faster road, and with the curves and everything, it'll actually work out just fine. Alright, so now I think I'm just going to leave that open. I think that'll just be a park. I've already got some shortcuts going through here. Alright, so we'll deal with this in a second here. I definitely need to do something with that because that's going to get way too busy. Let's do something about it right now. how do you keep your FPS up? The main thing I do to keep my frames per second from getting too sluggish is I just run fewer mods. That's a lot of, that's half the battle right there. Is there's some mods that really kill your FPS. The other thing too is I don't run all the bells and whistles on Traffic Manager. It's really tempting to do that, but it's a really bad idea because you just end up, you don't have enough ticks to be able to handle everything. All right, so this is a little complicated right here because it's going to be a little steep. The other problem I have is that this intersection is here, and I don't really want that to work that way, so I'm going to reconfigure the street here. And make it so it's a little more gentle slope. All right, now let me smooth that out. Whoops. Whoops. I don't want that. Slope the objects. There we go. That's a pretty decent grade. It'll be okay. And then the last thing I'll do well, I'll be okay with that. I think that'll look okay. That'll work. It's sort of like that to all come in together, but can't always get what you want. Yeah, not really sure what I think about all that. I don't know if I'm feeling this anymore. I think I'm not going to connect it quite like that. What I'm going to do to get into that neighborhood is I'm going to build another little cross street right there. I want that to be a 90-degree here. So I'm going to build another way to get into this residential neighborhood from this main road. I need to get my angle thing back on. There we go. Okay. There we go. We'll slope that with move it. Whoops. There we go. So that gets access into that neighborhood pretty well. I'm happy with it. I have to figure out how I'm doing the rest of that. And that's going to be pretty busy over there, so probably want to zone that something other than residential right in the proximity of that freight terminal, but we're going to just go with leaving it vacant at the moment. So now what I have is this freight terminal will be able to deliver traffic in either direction to the main roads without having anything more than these stops right here. So something else I'm going to do in preparation for all of this, let's get TMPE going here again. Actually, let's do adjust roads. I want stop signs on this. On this. Do that. Can't remember if I did this. Oh, I forgot to run water. It figures. Okay, I think we're good there. All right, so now let's get our water pipes in here. And it didn't zone there. Oh, I forgot. I would actually really like to have commercial along here. Okay. All right. Let's go back here and get the traffic lights turned off on this street. I'm not going to have a traffic light there just yet. Okay, that looks good. Put some stop signs along here. Not going to worry about that at the moment. All right, so what we're going to do here is make it so that this street stops instead. And I'm going to do that all the way along here. Ah, we won again. This will be a collector road right through here, which is why I want to have stop signs set up a little differently. And might as well do it here too. And we'll stop there. And then another place that we want to have, we don't want to have stop signs on this street here. I don't think I gave a name to it yet, did I? No, I did not. Okay. All right, so there we've got another collector road. And I don't want that to have stop sign. Whoops, I did that wrong. There we go. Oh, one more here. Doing this all backwards. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. All right, so that should keep that moving pretty well. Probably could work some of that through there. Okay, so now I have my road running up into the mountain here. And how am I doing on population? I've got about 5,000 or 6,000 I've added. I need more people. I need more jobs. So let's see where I can put some more jobs. It's tempting just to run unemployment up a little bit more further just so we can start detailing this with RPC. I'm going to put some offices over here in this area, this neighborhood here. Since it's already a bit of a commercial center as it is. So that'll help fill in some of that. The other thing I need to do is I need to set this neighborhood up to not have high rises, because those will probably upgrade pretty quick, especially once I get a park going on in here. And we probably should start adding some parks in here. More of the city. Maybe we'll go over to Aristotle Park even and start working on that. I need districts. Okay, so downtown ended here. I think it makes sense to have this extend out to the station. Let's have it go out to the railroad tracks. Oops, that's not what I want. That neighborhood might get its own identity over there eventually. All right, and then yeah, I think I'm gonna actually create 2 districts. Looks like I must have missed a spot with the water. I don't know what to call this, so I'm just going to call it the West End right now. We'll give it a better name later. And we'll call this, wow, I don't know. It'll be some kind of hills. Since we're going up the hill. Maybe we'll name it after this hill once we figure out a name for that hill. All right, so I want to set some policies here. I want the West End to not have city planning, high-rise ban. And I'm going to do the same thing with some kind of hills. I really only want the high-rises in my downtown core at the moment. Eventually, we'll probably have some random ones, but I'm going to start using Find It and Plop the Growables and things like that to make that happen. Let's see. It'd be good to have water along our main road here. At least on one side. Okay, so let's look at parks here. Oh, let's look at sewer treatment first. We're running a little low on that. We're good on electricity. It looks like we're good on education. Yeah, we're doing really well with that. One of the things I want to do eventually is find a place up here, maybe on the top of the hill, try to work in a liberal arts college. I think that might be kind of cool. But we'll get to that in a minute here. So let's look at parks here. How are we doing on time? Oh yeah, that's the other thing. I don't remember if I have that mod loaded, the FPS booster. I forgot all about that. I have been working with that. I can't remember if I put that in this mod. Yeah, okay, FPS booster. I have it limited to 30 frames per second, which makes it fairly smooth. I think that I have my software, I have OBS configured to stream at 30 frames per second. So that's another reason why it might be a little smoother, is that I'm using that mod. I don't have a lot of graphics mods on here. The graphics mods will definitely slow things down, and it'll probably make the stream slower too. I'll probably fall behind on that, because if I don't use those graphics mods, if I use those graphics mods, it's going to definitely add a lot more processing load to the system. So that's one of the reasons why I'm able to get pretty good FPS. You run the right mods and don't run the wrong mods. One of the mods that I had was really, really messing up with my FPS earlier. Oh, man. Something burned down. This is the only reason. Oh, crud. I have a traffic jam problem over in Paso Laguna, figures. That's my favorite part of the natural disasters expansion is you build. Oh, man, where did I put that thing? I think it's out here in the port. Yeah, you build this disaster response unit, and it'll actually fly out, do some recovery and whatnot, and figure out if... oh, why do my trains do this? What happened here? No, get rid of the rest of the train. Oh, no. Well, it looks like I might have to turn despawning on. I'm not exactly sure why this has happened. It looks like I've got too many trains trying to go into this station, and they're all empty. Somebody turned me on to a mod about that, and I just have not gotten around to taking advantage of it yet. Why? Isn't that long enough? It'll probably start to catch up here in a minute. Okay, boys. Let's go. All right, so this railroad crossing and these trains. Oh, wow, that's a really long backup. I ignored that for way too long. Well, now I'll tell you a story. Let's see how far does the backup go down Laguna Boulevard. Oh, man. That's a long backup. And that's with the grade separation. You know what I'm going to do to try to make this a little better in the future? I'm going to put a slip. I'm going to put a ramp in right here. Anarchy. There we go. Just move it to get that to look a little better. Ah, yeah, baby. Okay, let's change my junction up here. I want these guys to go. I don't want anybody turning left there. I need to change my lane arrows. Right turns only, please. I almost tried to use a bulldozer on that guy. That's how upset I am. Actually, yeah, okay, there we go. And then I want to make sure I don't have anybody turning left here. I'm going to make that a dedicated lane for right turns. That should help a little bit. Not enough, though. At some point, these trains will clear, I would think. They already have cleared. Why am I still stuck at this at the intersection? Oh, it's because the cars are in the way. Why aren't the cars? Go, guys. Come on. Move it. Get a move on. Stop blocking the railroad crossing here. Goodbye. There we go. Okay. Yay. Now I can get this gridlock cleared at some point here. It will clear. I promise. Oh, man. Paso Laguna just can't catch a break. Now, do I have any sort of death care on the other side of that? On this? Of course I don't. All right, so we're going to... All right, so I lived in a little town. I grew up in a little town. If you take a look at Google Maps, check out Wellington, Ohio. Wellington, Ohio is not exactly like Paso Laguna. I mean, obviously it's in Ohio. It's not anywhere near an area like this. But the problem I had that Wellington had is that it was bisected diagonally by a railroad track, very much like this. And what would end up happening is every time, there were some businesses in the center of town that actually received some, they had to swap around some rail cars and whatnot. I need to change my junction restrictions here. Nope, not vehicle restrictions, junction restrictions. Give me a second here. Oh, it is set up that way. Well, I don't know what the problem is. It will eventually clear. Anyway, the town was bisected by railroad tracks. So there was one, and it's not a very big place, only about 4,000 people. Paso Laguna is shrinking, and it's about 2,000 or so. But it was bisected, and so half the town was on one side of the tracks, half the town was on the other side. And the trains were just so frequent with at-grade crossings, and they then sometimes they would be switching cars around, or maybe they would be siding one of the trains so that they could have another one pass. Since originally there was only one track for a while there when I was a kid. There were two tracks, then they made it down to one track. I don't know how they did that. The line connects some pretty major, industrial centers and everything. So you would think that there's no way they would ever single track that. Well, they did. And that is all backed up too. How? Well, that's trying to get back out. How are they backed up? Again. Where are you trying to go? Oh, I think I know what... Nope. This is the problem. Oh, the railroad crossing. Of course. Well, at least some of them are getting through the trains. All right. That should help a little bit. Ugh. Anyway, so what ended up happening is they built two fire stations in this little town. The fire district was actually rather large. Took up several townships around. For to give you an idea, that's township is roughly about 5 miles square in that particular part of Ohio. And I don't know how many kilometers that is. That's probably about 8 kilometers. Yeah, that sounds about right. So about 8 kilometers square. Yeah, that sounds about right. So it was quite large, the fire district. It took in several townships around, or parts of it. So there was a lot of ground for that fire department to cover. And whenever there'd be a train, well, that was a few more minutes at least that somebody's house might be burning down, or that somebody might need care from an ambulance or something like that. It's just really crazy that a little town of like 5,000 people with maybe 10,000 tops living in that area. And I'm talking about spread out throughout country, over probably, 100 or 200 square miles. So it was not really a heavily populated area, but it had to have multiple... Oh, man, the trash is going to get bad. It had to have multiple fire stations. We didn't have hardly a police station. The sheriff's department, they could easily get stuck on the other side of the tracks coming in too. So it was really kind of insane, the whole thing. But that's what this reminds me of, I hate to say. And it's all because of lousy design. Who built it that way? What were they thinking? Now, what is going on down here? Why is this not clearing out? It should be getting in. Oh, they can't get out now. Oh, man, I've got to get that moving. All right, I think this might help. Goodbye. There we go. And no, you can't just park there. This is another thing that I find really... Well, this is actually not too bad. This is going back to the terminal. But a lot of empty trucks in this game. I don't find that to be the most realistic thing. Especially when they go long distances. I mean, that's kind of nuts. Hey, stop stopping right there. Stop before. Hey, keep going. That one must be stuck too. Probably should just turn despawning on. Just break down and do it. Oh, that's part of the problem right there, is this is just too far away. Too close together, I mean. If I had a train length right there, that might work a lot better, wouldn't it? Why is that one down? Nothing's coming there. Oh, there's one little scooter there. Go! You need to go. Yep, I'm turning despawning on. That's the only way to fix this. That'll get that going in a minute or two. I was really hoping to not have to do that. Oh, these trains. There's apparently mods. I have to get into these mods. I think I actually might have even put one in that will actually take care of these trains. I know this is getting to be a broken record, so by the next episode I'm going to take a look into that and try to get that fixed so that we don't have this problem anymore, because this is really just so frustrating to have this happen every episode. At some point it'll clear in the near future here. How are we doing on traffic over here? These guys aren't getting through, so they don't have enough raw materials. That just figures. Well, it looks like Portland Boulevard is working pretty well, and so are some of these side streets. There's a lot of traffic, but it's not backed up so bad that it's got building volume on it. And this is all moving quite nicely too. All right, so we've extended this area over here on the west end. Let's see about moving across the street here now. Looks like longer tracks leading into the stations off the main road help. Yeah, it would. Yeah, well, grade separation would be the obvious solution. Now, the problem... All right, so here's the reason why I haven't taken on grade separation here. I would very much like to have this grade separated, but it's very realistic that you have a town or a few in America where they built this all really dumb, and now it's even dumber because there's a whole lot of traffic and a whole lot of trains. This is one of those situations. You have a historic area, which, you know, might not be as historic yet because I haven't gone through and detailed all of this, but it is, you know, I want this to be a historic area. And what really wrecks historic areas is when you say, oh, well, we have to build this for cars. And you build grade separations at all the crossings by demolishing half the town. Like, for example, this intersection all through here, I would have to rework all of this. And I don't really want to do it that way. What I would really prefer, and I think I will eventually do, is to build some kind of way across from over here that gets into town, because we need more alternate routes. The other thing I think I'll do is probably extend an alternate, you know, extend a grade separation off over here. I'll probably keep the railroad crossings, but I'll ban trucks from them so that they're not, or at least ban the big trucks. I don't know. We'll work it through. I'm not ready to do that yet. That's why I haven't yet. So let's go back over here to the west end. That'll clear out eventually. I'm not going to worry about it. We need to get this road completed up here alongside the railroad tracks. So we're going to build this so it is parallel as much as we can. We're going to start tying some things together here. All right, so I need the road guidelines here. There's 90 degrees. All right, so we'll go 72 units right there. And then I need to drop this in here. So let's see. I think it makes sense to... How far away are we from this rail? About 16 units. Oh yeah, that's exactly where I want that to go. Cool. All right. Now let's figure out how we want this to run in 26 units here. Make it 24 on either side here, so we need 8 more. Go away. 28 more here. There we go. That looks pretty good. So that'll be another main road. And it'll come right in here. We're going to build a little town over here. Now, one of the other things we could do... That's not what I want. I want the boat. Okay, so this would actually be a good place for a port, too. I don't want to have that in the middle of town, though. I think what I'll do is I'll put it somewhere over here. I don't know that it would work super easily. Whoops, I need to close that. I don't know if it... I might be able to even run a rail and have it have a freight rail that feeds into that. That's something that I might be open for. Now, where does that go? All the way around over here. Yeah, so that's a place that I don't currently service. And I could probably have another port somewhere over here. Doesn't want to connect to that. It wants to connect to the... All right. Yeah, so we'll probably build another port over there. So there's a good possibility we'll end up trying to connect that with the rail system right there. But for right now, let's lay out a little town here. Now I'm going to try to go with something that really fits with the terrain. And it looks like my best shot right here is to go shoot a road right here. How does that look grade-wise? Yeah, that looks really good, actually. And then I want this to be able to sort of snake through so let's have that. Eight units right there. I'll smooth that out in just a second here. Yeah, let's do 160 degrees right there. I don't know why I care that it's so perfect, but it works. So I'm going to go with it. All right, so then I'll bring that out 20 units. And I'll be content with that right there. So now I want to make sure that that's 8 units apart. So I need one more unit. All right, so that takes care of that. So that right there. All right, and now I want to have this all connect. All right, so what I like to do is I like to lay out my main roads first because that's what it's all about. I think I'm going to go... Let's go 16 units here. I don't know why. Just feels right. All right, and then I'm going to take a curve right here. How long do I want this? All right, so that is pretty steep right there. I don't want to run it right along the hill, on the edge of that hill. So how about if we meet up with the railroad tracks again here? Whoops. That's a little further than I'd like to be. All right, so we're going to run into there. I might need... just need a guide road right here. All right, so 40 units. All right. That looks good. Now, I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to send this road. Somewhere along this rail line. And I'll probably just have it go underneath at some point. It's the only thing I can really think to do. It's not really the best spot. Oh well, whatever. We're trying to lay out this town. We'll deal with the rest later. It may not go anywhere. So now... might be kind of nice to have a little bit of a city grid here. But just a little bit of one. Since that's a main road, I'm going to give that a little bit of extra spacing right there. Those are real nice short blocks. takes care of that. That looks good. So we'll have a grid, but not a perfect grid. That's the theme. Okay. Alright, so that road is going to just kind of end right there. I think I might try to pull it across over here. The other possibility is I could just build a park. I kind of like that idea, actually. Alright, so I'm going to have freight on one side here. This is a straightaway, and I need to have a passenger station over here somewhere too. Although I really want to have the passenger station, I think, somewhere over here. I want to connect this road here. What is the name of that? Is that La Colina Boulevard? So I want La Colina Boulevard to work its way down this hill and into this area here. So what's the best way to do that? And then it'll have all of this connected, and we'll have two ways to get downtown, and probably, yeah, we'll have two converging streetcar lines as well. So let's see, let's bring this street down. Units. And yet again, we want to now say, I'm gonna need a grade separation because I really don't want to have another railroad crossing now, do I? Yeah, John has a great point. It's not as simple to just do it in real life. And real life gives you these really dumb situations where you're like, what in the world was the traffic planner thinking when they did that? That's crazy. I like to have a few of those moments in my cities. I just feel like it gives some realism to it. So this is one of those times. All right, so I need to get a grade separation through here under these tracks. First off, let me make sure these are going the same direction, because if I end up having to move nodes around for pillars, then it's going to get weird. So let me change this up. That one is not going the same direction. All right, up to this point right here. Okay, so I need to reverse the direction there and there. Probably going to need more grade separations down that way. Okay. Make those two-way again. Oh. Yeah, okay, we're good. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you at me. Oh, hey Nate, how you doing? Glad to see you. We moved it to Wednesday. Yeah, the game, yeah, I will agree with that. I think this game is not made by people who know how to do city planning. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. All right, so let's see here. I need a grade separation. So in order to get a good grade separation, I need about 12 meters, which I know is insanely high. I'm probably not going to go with the full 12 here because that is insanely high. And I've got enough of a grade as it is coming down here. Yeah, so I'm going to have to snake this down and bring it in here. It looks like I could probably do it right there. That is going to be all sorts of fun with this little grid here. Okay, so I'm going to... Yeah, it's not ideal. Really not ideal. Okay, so I need to change this up just a bit here. I can't have that be exactly where it is. Just gonna cause me too many troubles. Alright. So what I'm gonna do is make this so that it's got some symmetry to it. I'm gonna make this... Come on. I'm going to take that 9 units out here. Which means I need to take this curve and redo it. Fun fact about Euclid, Ohio. When Moses Cleveland had a little bit of a problem, he was a general in the American Revolution, and when he came in, and after the American Revolution, they had all this land that they got, that they had west of the Ohio is what they called it, but basically west of the Ohio River, and so they sent out survey teams for land companies that had purchased the land as an investment, so that they could maybe make minor improvements or just survey it and then go ahead and sell it, make a lot of money, get rich, that kind of thing. So Moses Cleveland was one of these guys. It was part of the Connecticut Land Company. It took them a while to sort out how, if they had to sort out who owned the land first. The Indians said they weren't going to give it up. They convinced them to do so, probably with guns. And when they did that, they ended up making it so they could settle all that land and hopefully not get attacked by the Indians. And we're talking West Indians, not East Indians. So Moses Cleveland set sail, I think, off of Lake Erie, when it made it to the mouth of the Cuyahoga River, landed, and he brought in a survey team. Some of those guys were cooks. A lot of them were surveyors, but they also had cooks and stuff like that because apparently even in the wilderness, I mean, this is before there was anything in Ohio. There wasn't even so much as a water pump in Ohio. So, it was really not modern, to say the least. So what happened is Moses Cleveland has a problem with his surveyors in that they are really hating Ohio. They don't like it here because the mosquitoes were gigantic and, so on and so forth. It was very, very hostile country wilderness-wise. I mean, they used to have malaria in Ohio. That's how bad it used to be here. I have never seen that to be the case in my lifetime, but it is a thing that has been in the past. So Moses Cleveland had a real problem in that his survey team was about to revolt, and they wanted to just go home. I don't think they had built the road that went to Pittsburgh yet. At the time, Pittsburgh was probably more known as Fort Duquesne. So it wasn't really even, it was a long time before the Pittsburgh Steelers started playing there. Let me just tell you that. So when all that went down, Moses Cleveland decided he was going to try to appease the men by giving them land. Land, of course, that was in Ohio where they didn't want to be. That's just, I don't know. But land was valuable. Land that could be sold, nonetheless, at some point down the line. So he sweetened the deal. They were all probably getting paid anyway, as it was. It wasn't like they were slaves or anything. But he wanted to make sure that they finished the job, and in order to do that, he kind of bribed them with a little extra, and so he gave the surveyors all one township, and it was the biggest township that they had surveyed in the entire Western Reserve, and that was Euclid Township. The surveyors decided that they were going to name it Euclid because, well, when you're surveying, you're using geometry, Euclidean geometry. If you're familiar with the Greek philosopher Euclid, well, that was the name where they got the name for Euclid, Ohio. Just kind of a fun fact. It was all because Moses Cleveland almost lost his survey team. Because they didn't like the mosquitoes. The mosquitoes are okay, aren't great here, but I don't think they're as bad as they used to be. 8 units, 8 units. Okay. I don't know about that. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out the grade here. Let's do that. These are always tricky if you're trying to eliminate the grade. Now, I don't know if I put enough curves in here. Oh, go away. I'm going to slow the clock down. It'll be the 22nd century before I know it. Okay. Let's get a little bit of space down here. Whoops. That's not what I want. I want these two nodes right here. All right, I'm going to drop these down and get at least... I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's try to squeak through with 9. Yeah. That'll do. All right. And then I hope that I gave enough room right here. Probably should use the other tool. I need enough room right here that my slope should be good. Yeah, it's probably not too bad. Let's try that other tool and measure the grade, which could be a little tricky. Shift C to clear. Oh, hey, that's great. That's way better than I thought it was going to be. Okay. I think we might be good. Okay, so now I need to make sure that I don't have any pillars coming down in the middle of my tracks. Middle of my road, I mean. Okay, so I need to go out. I think that ought to do right there. All right, let's change that to Let's make that a bridge. Then we can light it up and make it look cool. I hope that's wide enough. I might not have made it wide enough. Oh, I don't want that to be bridge. Kind of looks cool. I need to be tram. Now, I hope those wires aren't going to be touching. If they are, we'll have to change that. Now, something I might do is separate the tram. Come on, get that little segment right there, buddy. There we go. There we go. Okay. I can extend that down La Colina Boulevard. Hopefully I don't have any weird blue things over here making it look funny. I kind of do. Let's see if I can move that. I'm going to have to get those to be further apart. That's good. Good. Now I should be able to change that up and it will look the way I want it to. Much better. Awesome. Okay, great. Cool. All right, so now the other thing I want to do, I think I might just reroute this tram. Yeah, I am going to reroute that tram. I'm not even sure if I want... Yeah, I think I do. All right, so we're going to leave that... We're going to leave that the way it is. That's cool. All right, and I'm going to put in... two-lane track right here. Probably put a park right there. And then I can extend these trams down through there. So now let's expand Liverpool over here. Personal fact, Joshua Stowe was one of the surveyors for Euclid, where I live now. Eventually, he was also a surveyor for Stowe, Ohio, where I grew up. I did not know that. Yeah, one story that I never got to tell is, like I said, I grew up in a little town called Wellington, Ohio. It is also in the Western Reserve. The one that was bisected by the railroad tracks. That one. Now, Wellington, Ohio has a really weird name story behind it. There's all sorts of interesting stories as to how they came up with names for stuff in the Western Reserve. It's not like Europe where it's like, oh, that's, named that because that's what it is. It's, that little town in the valley, full of whatever kind of plants or something. I don't know. There's all sorts of names. It's really funny. Like Escondido, for example, means hidden. And that's why I kind of liked that name, because this is sort of a little hidden town over there. Paso Laguna sounds, really cool in English. Just a very nice, smooth name. But it means Lagoon Pass. It's, just, you wouldn't probably name it that. La Colina sounds really cool too, but it just means the hill. To us Americans. So I don't know. I think it's very interesting. As the more I investigate the names of places in other languages and other parts of the world, the more I become very much. I don't know. It just seems like cities in America are named. They're just sort of random. There's not like an actual rhyme or reason to why is it called that. Oh, well, that's because this guy did this thing and he decided he liked that name. So it was named, sometimes it was named after people, like in the name of Stowe or, well, Euclid. Euclid had a reason why it was named after Euclid. But and I forgot to run those water lines underneath the street. Sorry. Let me do that. It'll be something mindless to do while I talk about the name of Wellington, Ohio. Okay, so they're not entirely sure, by the way, why they did name it Wellington, but there's a few theories. First off, I think this is the really interesting part of the story, is that they had a naming contest. And by naming contest, I don't mean like who can come up with the best name. I mean that they basically did some, feat of manliness to prove who should get the opportunity to name the town. And there was this guy, there were these four guys, I think, if I remember right, that settled Wellington, and their names were Wilcox, Wilson, Johns, who was a doctor, and if I remember right, the other guy was Welling. You're thinking, oh, well, he totally named it after himself, right? Well, that's not really the only theory as to how the town got its name, which is kind of weird. But there's a possibility that the reason why he named it that was because he was a big fan of the Duke of Wellington. And so he may have named it after him instead of naming it after himself. That had just happened, if I remember right, around the turn of the century. And I don't know, maybe if I remember right, that was actually not too, I don't know, probably a few decades. I think Wellington was probably settled in the 1820s. So it had probably been a few decades after the Duke of Wellington beat Napoleon. But either way, that is one of the possibilities besides the fact that his name was Welling. Now, what's kind of funny is there's one guy who, oh, by the way, the naming contest, I forgot to tell you about that. So they decided they needed to clear land. I mean, Ohio was heavily forested and they needed farmland, but more importantly than that, they needed roads. So what they did is they went down these survey lines and, chopped down trees to make roads through the middle of the township. And, Electric Avenue, that's actually a good story too. I can actually talk about that too. Give me a second. All right, so they chopped down the trees in order to, I need to upgrade more streets than that. They chopped down the trees along where these main roads were eventually going to be, and that served two purposes. One is it allowed these guys to decide who got to name the town, and it also allowed for them to have roads that weren't covered by trees. And I mean, I don't know if any of you have ever been to the Midwest, you're thinking, oh, well, it's just, cornfields and stuff. Well, Ohio is part of the Midwest too, and those cornfields used to be all forest. I was always told when I was a kid that back in the early days of Ohio, back before Ohio was settled and farmed, Monkey could have gone from the Ohio River to Lake Erie, which is ranges somewhere between 100 to 200 miles, maybe 250 miles between Lake Erie and the Ohio River. Could have gone tree to tree all the way across without ever touching the ground, which That'd be pretty wild. So it was very heavily forested, and so clearing these trees was a big deal. So basically they had a contest, and they had to clear trees in order to win the contest. And I forget, I think it was Wilson was the one who first won the contest. And they're like, okay, so what do you want to call it? And he was like, let's call it Charlemont. Everybody's like, the name sucks. I don't know. I don't know exactly why it is that they didn't like the name. I think that might have been what it was. But either way, they said, yeah, let's chop more trees. And then whoever chops the most trees next, they get to pick. And we'll go around two. So they picked another name, and that's when they decided to come up with Wellington. And I guess everybody liked the ring to that better. I don't know exactly. It was just kind of weird. They didn't explain it in any great amount of detail. I was in school when they taught us all of this stuff. So it's really hard to say how 100% accurate it is. Some of it's probably a little bit folklore. But, that's the story. Electric Avenue, where it's the first street to be powered. Okay, so I don't know. There's a lot of American cities, and this is why I have such a huge tram network. Trams and streetcars are pretty much the same thing. So when the electricity sort of became a thing. Whoops, I don't want that there. When electricity became a thing that people could use and have, what they did was, actually before that, let me rewind just a little bit more yet. There was an issue of, they needed transportation to get around. And the way that it was accomplished in a lot of cases was they built streetcars. So the streetcars that's too much. So streetcars were built originally to be they were horse-drawn, the streetcars were. And that lasted a little while. But there were problems with horse-drawn streetcars. First off, horses poop. So it's not exactly the most pleasant thing to be on a streetcar, or worse yet, to follow, be on a streetcar track. I mean, maybe there's a lot of streetcars that use the same trackage, especially if you were in the middle of town. I imagine it probably got pretty smelly with all that horse manure. So that was a major drawback to having horse-drawn streetcars. Eventually, they implemented electric streetcars, and that was a huge move forward because all you had to do was run wires over the tracks. In fact, if I remember right, I think a lot of cases they only ran one wire over the tracks. I need to get some electricity down here. They ran one wire over the tracks, and that did a pretty good job because they could just use the ground as the other wire, really, because that's kind of the way alternating current usually works anyway. And most of the power grid in America was alternating current once Nikola Tesla proved that this is the way to go. Thomas Edison liked direct current, which has certain advantages, but one of the disadvantages is that actually it's really hard to transmit power over a very long distance. So anyway, electric streetcars came along, and a lot of times if you see a wide boulevard in America, that was where they ran a streetcar. Now, in some cases, they didn't always run it down the wide boulevards. Sometimes they ran them on their own right-of-way, really. And when they did that, in some cases, you'd get to the cross street, you'd just jump off, and off you'd go to wherever you were headed. If you were out in the suburbs, you'd be headed home. In the city, though, usually it was, paved and you were on a boulevard more often. So what happened is, as these streetcar networks grew up in all these boulevards, like we have here, they would just run right up and down the median. A lot of cases, these have been retrofitted to be more hospitable to automobiles. Big shock there. But in a lot of cases, the streetcar tracks are still there. I know there's a main road that runs along a ridge that was cleared, to create the main road. That was where they had to chop a bunch of trees. In the suburb I am in, on the western edge of Cuyahoga County, not too far from Cleveland. And that suburb, the streetcar tracks are still there, and they probably haven't run since the 50s. But they had what they call interurban streetcars that ran in between different towns and connected them all up, usually with the major cities in the area. Maybe either the major city in the county. That's right. I'm not ready to do that yet. Or, usually major cities, in the area that, people might work in, who didn't mind commuting quite a bit of a distance. In some cases, they were used, I'm sure they had them. They used mail, they ran mail and stuff like that up and down some of these too. But these used to be extensive. These are all over the place. Like Los Angeles actually had a really extensive streetcar system, and a lot of that went out the window with the automobile. Same thing happened in cities all across the United States. It's a real shame because we'd have much better public transportation if we still ran those streetcars. But I believe it was the automakers who tended to want to make sure that the streetcar tracks weren't really a thing that they had to worry about anymore. That's not where I want that. That's not where I want that. Why can't I get that where I want it? There we go. That's not where I want that. Come on. All right. I want that there. Okay. So now those people can get downtown. Hopefully that sounded more exciting. I'm trying to build and talk at the same time. It doesn't always work out, does it? I need extra nodes in there. I should probably just use the node controller to put that in. Oh well. Alright, and now I can put tram stops. That's not where I want it. Yeah, there we go. And another one here and right here. Okay, so I need to get a passenger station somewhere over here. Probably north of this square. At some point. And it needs to be done in a way that allows trains to cross over it. Something else I could probably use over here is more garbage facilities. In fact, I could probably use a few more of those in a lot of places. I hate that these pollute a little bit here. I think they're not as bad. Yeah, 10 pollution I can tolerate a lot more. Oh, yeah. And so the Electric Avenue, that's the other thing I was going to talk about. Out in the suburbs, like I know, like in Bay Village, Avon Lake, Sheffield Lake, they had an interurban streetcar that ran out to the west suburbs. And, you know, basically along Lake Erie all the way out from the west side of Cleveland. It's not close enough to actually get any utilities, is it? And in a lot of cases, those streetcars don't exist anymore. Actually, in all the cases except for one. And it's still used as a rapid transit, which is good. They ripped out most of the streetcar tracks, especially in the 1950s, I think. There we go. There. But you still have streets that are called like Electric Boulevard. And that was actually where one of the electric railways went. Put some houses through here. Oh, that's not houses. Yeah, Toronto does still have theirs. They're lucky dogs. Let's see if we can flesh some of this out here. Okay, so we could probably go with the 12 by 20 blocks here again. Yeah. Not sure what I want to do with that yet. Let's go with... Yeah, that's what we'll do. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'm not sure how to go about taking advantage of that real estate there. I might just leave some of that open. I have to think about that one. I'd like to develop over here too, but the problem with railroads is they tend to be natural barriers. How am I doing on unemployment? I need more jobs. Okay. So now what am I doing with... Whoops. I need to figure out what I'm doing with market here. Oh yeah, I don't want that. Alright, I need my terrain. Hey, take care, Tank. How you doing, Freyeth? Killsec. Why, how, always I building a roads look like? Can you tell me? So you want to know how to build roads that don't look as messy. I think a lot of it is just trying to discipline yourself to follow some of the... Following the terrain is one thing. The other thing is just not trying to do anything. Try to make it so that the transitions are smooth. You know, like right here. This could look really hokey, but what I've done instead to make it not as hokey is I do use a lot of straight segments running into intersections. The other thing I'll do is, you know, put an elbow in, nice smooth elbow. I've got one right here too, and actually I could probably, I really should neaten that up a little bit. Let me do that. Give me a second here. Tell me that's tram, yeah. I don't want trolleybus, it looks so similar. Should do. That'll make it a little neater. And hopefully... There we go. The other thing too is I like to try to keep the parallel distances pretty similar. Like, for example, you can see that this road roughly follows the contour of the railroad, but it also follows the contour of the land. If you've seen my first video on city layout, you know that let the terrain be your guide is one of the mantras I play by. So what that really means is, you know, follow these contour lines. You know, like I've got this big mountain right here. It's a little irregular shaped, and so I don't want to follow it perfectly, but you follow it close enough and you end up with, you know, nice sweeping curves. And then once I got that in there, well, I had this main road running in here. I've got it following the grid at this point, but here I know I'm going to have to go into that valley. And I sort of want it to follow the terrain. And since the railroad already follows the terrain, all I did was find a place. To give you an example here, I looked for, and I probably didn't explain this very well at the time that I did it, but I looked for locations where, yeah, like right there, you see we've got 90 degrees and it's almost 90 degrees right there. So this really follows the contour of that rail line pretty well, even though I've got a couple of straight stretches right through here. But the straightaways still line up pretty nicely with the rail line. And it separates there again. It goes around this, I don't know what you would call it. I'm not sure. I'm not much of a geologist. But this cove through here, just following the contour of the land. And that's really a lot of what's going on. Now, the other thing I do is I try to use straight stretches of road and then use that to model off of. With this here, you saw how I just zigzagged through some streets, and all it's doing is it's adding a longer geometry. It's making this whole section of road just be a little longer because it's got a curve. I could have just made it straight. And honestly, that probably would have worked. And who knows, maybe I'll simplify it and make it work that way. But there are streetcars running on this, and it's kind of nice to not have it be too steep. So, you know, there's a lot of different techniques. I wish I could really explain all of them. I know if you're following More Money, Less Traffic, the series I've got now, there's some of that going on. It's sort of subtle, but you get an idea of how to run streets so that you end up with nice smooth elbows, like we see right here with Bronco Street, or Bush Avenue, or Kenneth Street, or whatever here. A lot of it's just trying to figure out how to, I don't know, it's just running it in nice alignments. It works really well for a grid, but a grid isn't the only way you can use it this way. Because obviously the street does not have a perfect grid plan. I don't even have numbered streets in here. So the grid is sort of there, but it's not dominating. And that's kind of the way I like to build them best, is have a grid, but make sure it's not perfect. Like right over here, I'm using a whole other grid layout here. These are smaller block sizes and everything. And I'm probably not even going to have much of a gridded area beyond this. So I have a lot of hillsides and stuff like that. I could really easily develop this area. But the key thing is give yourself some space, and then when you do that, to make sure that you don't put too many crazy curves in there. That's a little crazy, but it's not too bad. Let's see if we can find a truck here, or some sort of vehicle. You know what? Actually, I probably need is some. Oh yeah, I need some fire and police coverage over here. So let's put that up here on the hill. Yeah. Yeah, I think that would do nicely. All right, so I'm going to put fire right up here. And I'll put police. Will that fit right there? No, it won't. I'll put the police there on the top of that hill. No, I don't understand why exactly I have that strange alignment right there. I could probably use another hospital. Oh, I'm actually doing okay on that. Well, yeah, I could probably use it over here. I really like it to be on the other side of the street, or on a cross street here. Probably should put it down here. Alright, let's put it right here. It doesn't look like I filled all of that in. Oh, I did. I just didn't do it right. I want those corners to fill in right. Fill in all the way, I should say. Okay. Now maybe we'll get a police car or something out of here that I can follow. That would be cool. Oh, I got one right there. Wow, come on. It keeps picking the street. Let's see where it goes. Oh, good. Don't turn left. It's not going to turn left. Good. Oh, that's a really cool view right there. Yeah, that looks really cool. It'll look even better once I don't have the trees in the way. That is a really awesome little drive. So I don't know if I showed you this snowy Poland. Greetings from snowy Ohio. I always chuckle a bit when someone tries to spell my nickname the right way. No offense, Lee. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. How am I supposed to spell it? It looks like it's spelled... Yep, can't really say as I quite understand what you mean. But anyway, yeah, so that's kind of a cool little drive right there. I should probably make that not have trees so you can see it better. They don't like that. Oh, bummer. Yeah, we'll check that out in a second here. So, all right. Let's see what else we can build in here. Maybe we can get this filled in a little better. All right, so we've got the tracks right there. I think we're just going to narrow this up on one side to account for the incline. All right, so here's a perfect example of following the terrain. I'm not going to have houses on that side of the street because I've got a hill for the rail. Now I want to turn off my angle bubble right here. And I want to have these come off straight, but then, you know, wind around a little bit. And actually, you know what? Let's go one step further here. Let's go out to the next block. I want my angle bubble back on now. I go out 20 units. I think that would work. Turn my angle bubble off again. All right, so that's going to give me a 90-degree angle. I want a 90-degree angle there. Okay, so in order to get a nice, neat line right there. All right, so first off, I can use this freeform road tool. This is not as freeform as it likes to let you believe. All right, so I've got an 87-degree angle there. That's not exactly what I was looking for. Let's try the 90 right there. That's definitely not going to get me what I want. No, that's actually not too bad. Let's use the other one, the curved road tool. Now, the curved road tool is actually, in my opinion, gives you more free form because it doesn't have to be a perfect angle every time. All right, I'm going to make the straight stretch right there. All right, so I can use precision engineering, and it's going to sort of give me, whatever. All right, so we're not going to worry about that. We're going to have that be 90 degrees right there. And this will be 3 degrees off at an 87-degree angle. All right, so now I have a slight angle, but it's not quite slight enough. I'm going to take advantage of the guidelines here. I'm going to use a dirt road. It's a little smaller, a little easier to work with. So I want to make sure that I'm using the right tool here. So I'm going to go 5 units off on each end. And this is going to allow me to create a, a middle section here. Now, sometimes the game tries to correct the angle and bend the rows just a little bit. So you have to turn the angle bubble off to get that to happen. get it to just be 100% straight. There's times when you like it to be the way the game does by default, and sometimes, a lot of times you don't. All right, so now I have this little guide road, and I'm going to go to a regular road here. Go to your curved road, set your angles on, and now you have to use precision engineering for this one, and it still was going to be a little off. All right, so what we can do, I don't know why this works, but it sometimes does. All right, so now I've got a node right there, exactly where I'd want that. And as long as I turn on anarchy, can't do this without mods, folks, I'll get a nice, perfect sweeping curve right there. I might have to do this. Okay, no, this one is okay. So 7 units brings me out to the guideline, and then I get a nice 90-degree angle, which is actually not what I want, now that I think about it. It should be 93 degrees, which is sort of the point. Okay, so let's try that same trick again, except it doesn't work this time. Well, there is one way of solving that. Now it has to give me that angle. Right? Nope. Still doesn't want to do it. Alright, so with anarchy we can kind of force this. This is just such a small little bit of angle there that it just doesn't care. Alright, so that's where I want a node, a guide node. Guide roads and guide nodes. Alright, so all that does is it makes it so that this sticks in the center, and then I get my curve the way I want it. And now I can draw that back in. And it's just a nice, gentle little curve. That's how I get it looking so perfect. I don't always do that, but I do it when I think when it matters to me. Now here I'm going to go with, I'm going to go with 11 units there. And then hopefully, oh, nope, I'm going to go with, well, let's see what happens if I go down the street a little further. All right, so I have 20 units right around here. That's 10 units out. I think that's pretty reasonable. 10 units right there. I think we can do 10 there. Okay, so let's go from further out here then. And then I just, you know, curve that around perfectly. And then I'm going to bring that straight off. That'll move the node. No, it won't. Why isn't it moving the node? That's so strange. It didn't move the node. That's close enough. It looks good. All right, so that's how I'm going to get pretty much a perfect grid. Oh, go away. I don't care about the academic year anymore. Oh, perfect. Hey, you know, those streets aren't perfectly straight, but they are very neat. So it just takes a little bit of extra patience to get these to look the way you want them. But they do look really nice when you do it that way. All right, so now my problem is that I don't have the grid to guide me. I'll narrow that up and then I can have the grid again. upgrade that back to tram. So I really feel like the moral of the story is if you want to have a nice, neat-looking city, just have a little more patience and develop your technique on running roads, and just trying to get them to follow. They don't have to be perfect. They just have to look. They have to look, you know, like they're following the contours of the land and the contours of the roads around them. When you do that in the right way, then you end up with some pretty cool looking patterns. All right, so now another thing I do, let me see if I have enough time. It looks like I'm probably getting down here. No, I don't know if there's an, I didn't realize there was an undo it mod, John. I could probably use that. I've gotten used to playing without it though, so I don't know. Oh man. Why are those so full? Probably picking up garbage all over the place. Let's check on our traffic over here at Paso Laguna. Hey, Paso Laguna is working again. Helps when you turn off despawning. Turn despawning back off, you know, on. Oh, what in the world's going on over here? Oh, I have, I think I have sewer problems. Is that what it is? Yeah, sewage is backing up. All right, so I need to do something about that. One of the things I think I'm going to do is get some of this stuff out over by Escondido instead of always relying on other parts of the city to do it. Should help a little. I need to do another one over by Laguna. Oh, well, I've got a water intake right there. Oh, well, I think I could probably get away with it anyway. Hopefully that won't poison it. I don't think it will. These barely give off any pollution at all. They remove most of it. Oh, electricity. Details, details. Make sure that one's powered. Okay, it is. All right, so that's going to take care of our water problems, I hope. Looks good. All right, so now let's bring more water into the system. And to do that, let's build a water tower. We can put one of these. Hey, let's put it right... Nope, that won't fit. Where can we put it that it'll be out of the way? What is going on? Oh, that must be because the sewer... Wow. That's a real bummer. I don't want it over there. It will get polluted. Oh, man, I gotta get rid of some of that. You know what? I could probably put it over here if it would let me. Oh, there's a road. Sometimes water towers are a better move because it gets it from the ground instead of draining your waterways. But, you know, sometimes there's an advantage to getting it out of the waterway, too, because then your water level stays pretty constant. Now let's check out our water pollution. Yeah, you don't really notice it. Hopefully it's not going to suck in any of that pollution. It might, though. If I moved it down here, I probably won't have any problem with it. Oh, good. The abandonment is starting to subside a little. Oh, that got pretty bad. I didn't pay attention to that enough. And I lost a good section of town here. Once it rebounds, I'll have a lot more population, though. Whoops. Now I'm only getting every other one because I want to kind of grow in the way it was. Hopefully that'll happen. It looks like I am really sort of... Okay, my unemployment's not too bad. I can live with that. OMG, on-air shout-out. I'm officially the most important person ever, but yeah, it's not 100% on everything, but I'd say about 90% effective and allows you to recoup 100% of cost of undone actions. Well, as you can see, I have $44 million, John. I don't really know that I need any more money. And that's part of the reason why I don't worry about it too much. There are times when I wish I could undo things because I demolished something that I wasn't done with that. I need that. Yeah. So it would be useful. No doubt about it. But it's not one of the more useful mods that... So it's not a mod that I feel like I could not live without. You know, I think I want to... Yeah. I want to connect this up so I can access that. Access a little bit of this real estate back here. I have to grade this a little bit. I'm not sure how that's going to look. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, maybe it'll be all right. Pretend there's a retaining wall there. Do I want to pretend there's a retaining? Yeah, that's not too bad of a grade. I think it'll be okay. Okay, and fill that in with residential. And we're good. Yeah. So as long as you have like 2 squares, 2 units between, 2 empty units, I should say, 2 square width depths on the side of your street to the railroad or whatever other infrastructure you might have next to you, you're going to do pretty good as far as the grade and the realism looks. It's not going to make it look too weird. All right, so let's do parks. I feel like we've done pretty well at filling that in. I think we need to get some parks going on. And something I'm going to do, I think what we'll do next week is try to build some main roads in that go out to the water over here. And I have to admit that I've been tempted. I have that freight line in the way now. I don't know if that's going to work. I was tempted at one point. It could still be done to build a rail line that goes out here from Transcentral. There's a lot of real estate out that way that might be useful, but we'll develop. And then if we find a need or usefulness in that, then we'll do that. Yeah, I think that'll be good right there, that valley. I could probably use more death care out this way. Although, I thought those people just moved in. I don't understand how they're dying already. Probably use another crematorium right here. And another one over here. There will be a cliff. Not too worried about that. Okay. All right, so parks. Let's put a park in here. Because we definitely need some parks. Whoops, I need the right thing here. No, I didn't do that right. All right, so I have to outline the whole thing, otherwise it will try to make a second park. Whoops. I colored outside the lines. There. I have no idea what we're going to call that. West Park. I don't know. And let's get some gates. City Park. Small park main gate. Let's have that be the main gate. Over 1 unit. Close enough. Okay. Now, I don't really have a whole lot in the way of shortcutting that is facilitated by the shape of this park, but I still think, yeah, it'll be nice. Okay, so let's get a plaza. Do we want a plaza in this one? You know what? Let's go with a chessboard instead. We might as well fence it in. And get this side here. Now what's cool is this will actually contribute towards the park's that's too far. Anarchy doesn't want to help with fences. If you saw my last More Money, Less Traffic, then you saw how these parks, these fences actually contribute towards the park score, well, the scoring of the park, as far as its, what is it, attractiveness? Entertainment, that's the word I'm looking for. All right, so I need a little bit more to get that over to level 2. Let's see. I think gazebos make sense. And then a playground would be good too. Let's not put it next to the chessboard. And is there anything else we want to put in here? I don't know. I think we'll just leave it at that at the moment. I have to put some trees and stuff in here too, but that should get us at least to the level 3. And should get that neighborhood a little bit more pricey. I have some huge gaps as far as parks go right there. All right, so let's increase the size of Compost Del Mar here. Wow. Colored outside the lines. Oh, well, it's as simple as that. I learned something just now. As I'm extending that out, it's actually extending the entertainment from that whole park towards the rest of the neighborhood roundabout here. So that's actually really interesting. I didn't even realize it did that. So now I could probably fence that in too. I don't know. It looks like I just did a huge amount of change just with that one little addition right there. So Bosque Park is another one that we haven't touched, and Aristotle Park. Why don't we work on Aristotle Park? Although this neighborhood has a lot going on in it, I'd probably be better off working on Bosque Park. So let's do that. So, what kind of park do we want to have here? We don't need a zoo. We don't really want an amusement park. Although we might be able to put in some interesting stuff with that. I don't know if I want parking. This is too much inner city, so let's not have that. All right, so I'm going to put these gates at intersections. Oh, I don't need another main gate. Yeah, at the end of Avenida Peninsula is a good place. Okay, put another gate there. I might use move it to get that to be where I want it. Okay, yeah, let's do that. All right, so I want to join these two. Yeah, we'll use a straight piece for that. I need another set of gates over here to get in from this neighborhood. That looks like a good place. Yeah. And I probably should put one in the middle. Put one right there. Okay. So it'd be really cool just to be able to walk through the trees. That's probably going to be my best move right there. Okay, and then... yeah, I'll go through the woods. And I think I have anarchy on. Prop and tree anarchy, that is. Not the kind I want to have on when I'm trying to build the park with a whole slew of trees already in it. Now, the cool thing about this park is that the trees should already be contributing towards the entertainment value in here. Here we go, 120, that's good. Okay, that looks better. Alright, let's go with a curve on this one. Huh, that's funny. All right. Okay, that's good. Now, let's do this. I'll put another gate over here. That's not too bad. It looks pretty good. All right, so now let's fill in some of this. Yeah, let's put a pair of plazas up here on that end. And instead of putting a plaza over there, let's put playgrounds and stuff like that in this neck of the woods. I think I should probably... Nah, I think we're going to be okay. Maybe I'll put... Trying to decide if I want another gate over here. We'll leave it alone. And we'll get a gazebo or two in here. That'll be a good start. Let's see, how are we doing on that? 935. That's almost going to get us to 5 stars by itself. So let's fence that in. Now the funny thing is it's going to really drastically increase our income. To have all these parks being so busy. Let's... No... Why doesn't it want me to be able to build that way? That doesn't make any sense. It must not be straight. I move that just a teensy bit. Okay. Still doesn't like it. That's so strange. I don't understand why that's doing that. Let me undo that little twist. And just move it further from the street. There we go. And it's complete around there. Alright. So this is straight right here. Okay. Oh, it's not quite straight. It's close. Alright, let's see if we can... Whoops, I want this tool. It's not going to work. Alright. So... That looks decent. Not quite what I'm looking for. That looks better. Alright. So, one side's fenced. There we go. And bring the fence down here. Maybe that'll work. Nope, it's not gonna like it. Doesn't like it. Let me move that end. These fences are so weird. You would have thought they'd have made them easier to place. But they're actually rather annoying, as you can see. Let's try there. That looks good. Okay. I just have this one last section right here. It doesn't quite look right. I'll just use move it to get it more where I want it. That looks decent. It's not too bad. It's not perfect. It'll work. Alright, so now I need a lot more visitors, but it looks like that's going to happen pretty quick. So it's actually pretty quick to go from Avenida Peninsula and just walk right on down through here. It gives me an idea. Oh well. Not one that I can really do a whole lot about. Let's see. Unemployment 7% still. Not bad. So it looks like we've got West Park is getting close to hitting level 2. Let's see what our leisure view looks like here. So we've got some pretty wide, big sections of the city that aren't very heavily parked. Perimeter paths. Yeah. I'm definitely going to use some perimeter paths when I move across the street to do the waterfront right here. I think I need to go on to the workshop and search around for assets to see if there's anything interesting I can make of that. The other thing I'm thinking about doing is I think this section here I'm going to leave open, but I might actually build along the harbor over here. I just haven't made up my mind yet. So I just wait and kick the can down the road. So I think we're in a pretty good place where we could stop here. Still haven't filled in Aristotle Park. Oh, you know what? Before I stop, let's work on the zoo. Let's put a little more into the zoo here. So what other features could we add that would get this to be 5 stars then? Got the birdhouse. The moose and reindeer enclosure has been built. Antelope enclosure we have not built. I feel like we could probably put that over here. Hopefully the reindeer and the antelope won't give each other a hard time through the fences. Get some water over here too. And how much further do I need to go to get this up? I need to get to 2,000. Okay. So it's a much higher bar for the zoo. Bison enclosure, I think we built that. We've got our reptile house. Flamingos. Put those over here with the other birds. Or not. Yeah, it looks like this got a trail in it. So let's do... Whoops. Yeah. Let's do that. Okay, so where were we? We wanted flamingos. Looks like I probably should have placed that a little differently. Giraffes. Let's get the giraffes down here instead. Trying to get this to line up. This is really annoying. Probably gonna forget what I was gonna do in here. Okay. Okay. Alright, let's try the giraffes again. Not bison. That looks good. There we go. And there we go. Alright, so now what are some other features that we could add in here? Zoo souvenir shop. Gotta sell some souvenirs here. So let's get a souvenir shop over on either side of this. Yeah, let's do it right over here. And we need restrooms. I can't believe we don't have restrooms. That's important. Okay. Elephants. Oh, that's a big one. Well, we're definitely going to need room for that over there. Let's see. How close are we to 2,000? Oh, we're still a ways away. You might have to have some rather large ones gone in here. All right, so let's see. Lion enclosure. That's going to require more work. Rhinos, on the other hand. Can we fit that anywhere? It doesn't look like we've got a spot for those yet. Giraffes, elephants, flamingos. Well, the giraffes shouldn't bother the flamingos any. They aren't even real animals, and I'm worried about them. Let's see here. So I could probably put them over here. Yeah. No one will bug the flamingos over here. There we go. And let me build a path. That'll do. Still need 200 more. Gotta get that elephant enclosure built in here, don't we? Alright, so let's see. Elephants, elephants, elephants. Find the elephants. Elephants are right here. And they will fit along a road. Alright, so looks like they would prefer to be in this direction. So we'll get our pachydomes right over here. Alright. Whoops. Back to a road here. Let me get this path built. Actually, I'm going to put a gate, I think, over here too. Main gate, small main gate, side gate. Now, for some reason, I don't have any zoning on that road. Well, that'll be a problem. Let's put some zoning on there. Let me get my zoning. Pull out zone it here. Options. And oh, that's not the right one. Zone it. Show zone panel. All right, so now I need to get this baby to have some zoning alongside. All right, now I can build a gate. Okay. All right, let's okay, let's get our elephants going in here. Looks like I might need to rearrange a little bit. Okay. Hey, 5-star zoo, everybody. I want to put this a little bit further down. This will give me my curve. Nice curve. I don't want a regular park path. I want the zoo path. Sadly, there is no way to just upgrade these as far as I know. Alright, let me get some water over here. Can't have the elephants drying out here. Okay, let me check my grade here. Oh, that wasn't exactly how I was expecting that to lay out. Okay. 5-star zoo. Still have room for more expansion in here too, so that's cool. I don't know if it's the prettiest zoo I've ever seen. I don't know what you guys think of it. You can use the nature reserve path to make it look like gravel. Yeah. I kind of like this look? That looks pretty good. I sort of wish that I had... This needs to move over more. Because I want people to be able to come into the zoo. Go to that plaza. It's not quite where I want it either. I want people to be able to see elephants. Because I think that would be cool. There we go. So you walk in and you're in that center plaza. You got the dome. You got the elephants there. You got animals in every direction. I just think that would be super cool. As long as the animals get along. That's what matters. Can't have your animals going too crazy in the zoo. Some of them do not get along, probably. I don't know that much about it. Some of these animals probably never interact in the wild. Like, I don't know if flamingos and elephants ever run into each other at all. So who knows what the elephants would think, or the flamingos. All right, so there we go. Got a pretty good sized zoo there. At some point, maybe we'll have a tram line running, a streetcar line running right through the valley. We'll have to see how it develops. You know, that's something I could do. Actually, that's probably a good idea. Okay, so here's the idea. Run a streetcar down this boulevard, which I haven't named yet. Probably give that hill a name, those hills a name, and then that'll give us a name for the boulevard. And then meet up with Campos Del Mar, have a stop there, and then bring it down Bosque Avenue, and then at, what's the name of that? Parker Street, I think. Yeah, at Parker Street, then have that streetcar line run right down here into Aristotle Park. And then I can have the streetcars run right through the center of the park. That would be kind of cool. I think that would make it more convenient to use the streetcar line too. And then have it run out maybe over here. Or I could have it just run right into the zoo. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. That actually might be pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting idea. Well, anyway, I think that's our show this week, folks. We're going to be back on Wednesdays now. Monday was getting a little jammed up for me. So, you know, let me do some first-person stuff here. We'll come into the port on the boat. Whoa, I don't think I've ever done this before. It's not a very good view. Anyway, we'll come into the port here on this, and I'll have probably do a train ride on the way out, so you can check out the city as it goes by. Maybe I'll do a car ride. You know, I know what I'll do. I'll set up a bus line, and you can watch the bus go across town. We'll go through some of those streets that we just set up. It'll be like a tour bus route. Yeah, that's what we'll do. I don't even know if I have a bus depot. I think I do. I don't remember. Well, anyway, that's our show this week. Were you still planning on triple tracks through that area? I don't know which area you're thinking of, Nate. But I don't know. There's a lot of things going on in this city now. It's gotten a little bit bigger. Ooh, it's the Marina 2 cruise ship, and we're waiting because there's too many cruise ships trying to come into the port. I probably need another, I don't know. It wouldn't matter if I build another port, I don't think, because then I think that would just give me more ships. I don't know. I'll have to figure that out. I got another mod I might introduce with that. More network stuff will allow us to handle some of this stuff with the port. That is not where we're supposed to be. Is it? Well, it doesn't look right. Looks like the container port. Nope, I guess maybe it's not. Well, anyway, yeah. I know what we'll do. We'll follow the tram. Yes. Yeah. We'll do a tram ride. We'll start over here. And that's how we'll go out. I can't win. I'm going to pause it. Well, anyway, this will be the end of this week's episode. We'll be back on Wednesdays. Mondays were a little jammed up for me. Sorry if my brain is a little bit all over the place. That's kind of typical anyway, but I've been going through a lot lately. Stuff going on in the family, health-wise. Not with me, but with somebody very near and dear to me. So, anyway, that's part of the reason why More Money, Less Traffic has taken so much longer to come out, and part of the reason why, well, not exactly the reason why, but it's I was just getting too jammed up to be able to continue doing Monday afternoons. I've got a lot going on Monday morning, and I wasn't able to prepare. So today I was able to do some prep. Next time we come back, I'll get that rail line finished so we can come in from the north, and we'll see how our industrial traffic shakes out. That I'm actually a little worried about. Might have to build another rail line, but we'll see. If so, you'll get to see what it looks like when I'm done with it. Probably have it built for you next week. We've got all sorts of places that we can build up. We've got a little town started over by the lagoon, close to the sea. So that should be interesting. We might build that up. We also have gone up the mountain a little bit, so I'd really like to perhaps work on that area. And I want to show you guys how I build in main roads. Main roads are really cool to have set up so that you don't have to wonder where the traffic's all going to wind up. So I like to sort of put in all those main roads before I start building in that area. Sometimes it makes sense to build, then figure out where your main roads are. Sometimes it helps to put your main roads out and then build around those. And I think we're at the stage now where we've got enough city here that I really want to do the latter and build around main roads. So come on back and next week and we'll see how that goes. I'm not sure if I'll rough in a few of those. This is a really hilly map, a lot of mountains, so I might try to do some of that off camera for you. But so you can get an idea of how to build streets that look rather natural and follow the terrain, I might just do it on camera. Why don't you guys let me know in the comment section whether that's something you'd like to see more of. Let me know what you would like to see. I've gotten to a point now where I really need to just expand this city, and I think I'm going to do it to a point where I can start switching over to realistic population, which is going to require amping up my unemployment to probably like 20%, building a whole lot of residential. I think La Colina would be a good place to build the residential. We'll see. So these are a few things that I've got floating through my mind, and hopefully a few reasons that give you some ideas of how to build your own city so that you can do some of this too. I might go over my mods. That's another thing I could do. And I'll just really let me know what you're interested in. I'm happy to cover anything. But if you're having any trouble with anything in particular, I'd really like to help you out with that. So let me know what that is, and I will try to get something ready for you on Wednesday next week, or maybe the week after. And we'll hopefully help you out in getting more out of City Skylines. I'm also going to look into some mods that'll hopefully get some of those service vehicles to stop going over the mountains into Escondido. I do not understand why there are, like, most of the traffic going over there is police cars. I can't figure that one out. I'm also having some serious trouble with keeping up with the garbage pickup in some parts of town. I need to look into that. I might just be behind on the processing. I really don't know. Not causing a huge amount of complaints, I don't think, but I might have bumped something and changed a setting. I don't know. Anyway, those are some things that I'm thinking about, and hopefully you will enjoy. let me know what you'd like to see. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much, Shoestring. Oh, yeah, and then the Discord. I almost forgot to mention this. If you're still listening, hopefully you are. Discord is really starting to heat up. We've got some cool things going on over there. A group has just decided, I don't know, maybe you've probably seen Biffa and City Planners Plays City Skylines, Zardis, and I think it's the Tim Meister, and I forget who else. I think there's a fifth one. Anyway, there's 5 city builders who are working on a series together, and we, at the same time as that sort of hit, a group of guys in the group of people in Discord. I shouldn't assume they're all guys. A group of people in the Discord have decided that they were going to do the same thing before that even broke, before Zardis started that series out. So give that a look in the Discord if you're interested in seeing how these folks go through and build their city. I'm interested and pretty excited about it myself, actually. So it might be kind of fun to see what takes shape with all the different building styles people have. I'm interested in that 5 cities, 5 builders, 1 city concept too. It'll be interesting to see what happens once we get, especially Biffa involved, although Phil's a good friend, so good friend of the channel here, so I'm excited to see what Phil does here too. I haven't gotten a chance to see his video, so go check that out if you haven't already, and check out on our Discord and see what happens with the with some of the people over there, what they end up building. Should be fun. Anyway, I'm out for today. I'll leave you to enjoy the tram ride back to the other side of town.